Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 heroes that I think are going to be extremely broken in the next patch. So obviously with the DPC Div 1 ending, hopefully Valve will put out a patch very soon, and so I kind of just want to talk about the heroes that I think are going to get buffed, and specifically talk about why I think they're going to be really broken after the buff. So if you want to try practicing these heroes now, I actually think that I'm going to say 4 out of the 5 heroes on this list are currently good, not broken, but good, and if they get pushed over the edge, will become very, very strong. And before we move on, I know you might be thinking, Speed, where is the absolutely bro? Let me just tell you about the Game Leap website real quick. I just want to tell you guys, just yesterday I made 3 videos that I uploaded, which I'd love for you guys to go sign up and check out. I made a Primal Beast analysis, a rank match I played where I felt that there was a lot of mid to late game mistakes that I made. So if you're struggling in the mid to late game, maybe you're getting out of the laning stage quite well, but you can't transition the game and close it out, I thought this analysis is really in depth and going to help you guys out there. I then also made a match analysis between Gaming Gladiators and Entity following CCNC's Pango and just the game as a whole. I really felt like this is going to also help you guys just get a very high level understanding of how pros look at the game and how you can incorporate that into your pubs. And finally, I did a draft analysis. So if you're big into Dota theory, hero matchups, game matchups, how things come together, how pros think about Dota heroes and why they ban certain heroes, pick certain heroes, etc. That would be a great video for you. I'm putting a lot of effort into the website. If you're considering signing up, I recommend you do it. And yeah, I'll see you guys there. All right, I want to start it off with Marcy offlane. This is one that I think a lot of people should try because it's unbelievably powerful and the amount of impact you can have with little to no items is mind-blowing. Really what was impressive to me and what sold me on Marcy offlane was an LGD game I recently watched. This is the top Chinese team, or one of the top Chinese teams, and they run offlane Marcy frequently on their team. And really what's impressive is he got dominated in lane by a Phantom Assassin. I mean, this Marcy had nothing. He had little to no items, but he went for Armlet into Phase Boots, then into BKB. And on that timing, no one can fight you. Like, that's just how it goes. You think, oh, this Marcy got dominated in the early game. She has like 4k net worth at minute 13, right? This Marcy is poor. She's boots Armlet. And then all of a sudden a team fight breaks out. You don't focus her. She counter initiates and then just 2-taps your support. And I even watched this literal example of a Phantom Assassin, someone manning up to the Marcy and just losing with 3k gold on the Marcy. She was losing the man fight. And in my head, I'm like, it's Phantom Assassin. She's built a lifesteal, built an evasion, a crit, she's ahead on net worth, but the thing is, the Marcy bought very efficient fighting items, Phase Boots, Armlet, Ogre Axe. The Phantom Assassin had a Battle Fury and an Ogre Axe. Just not good items when it comes to man fighting, and that's the reason why Marcy offlane is so good. It doesn't take up a lot of space because it doesn't farm very quickly. If you watch the LGD game, he spends almost all of his game pushing in the side lanes and clearing occasionally a couple of camps. He's not wiping to the jungle. He'll take the large camp and the small camp and then go back to the creep wave, and then usually farm 2 or 3 creep waves in a row. And that's about it. He maxes his E, and so what I think is going to happen to Marcy is there's not a lot of pro teams picking Marcy right now. And on top of that, the hero's win rate in pubs is not very good. It's actually quite awful. In fact, Marcy is one of the lowest win rate heroes in Dota right now, currently sitting at 47% win rate. This hero is technically horrible. It's literally one of the lowest win rate heroes in Dota, and yet LGD is making it seem quite broken. So what's going to end up happening is it's not picked much in the pro scene. It's got a horrible win rate in pubs because frankly, I think people build the wrong items. They have no clue what to buy. The hero is a little bit clunky. I will say, I think playing Marcy effectively takes about 3 to 4 games to get used to because the W rebound, especially with the nerfs, is very, very clunky. And in team fights, you have to click a lot of active buttons on the hero. You got to click Phase Boots if you go Armlet, BKB. You have to click your lifesteal, your rebound, your dispose, your ult. You have a ton of active items, which does make it very hard to play, but if you get good at it, the reward is ridiculous. All right, getting into the next one is Witch Doctor. This one I'm actually pretty sold on being like potentially really, really good in pubs. Witch Doctor's current win rate actually sits at a very respectable 51% win rate, 51.4 to be more exact, and I'm a big fan of the hero. I'm particularly a fan of Witch Doctor's Shard right now. Like, this hero's Shard does so much damage. Technically, it puts you in the ground for 3 seconds and reduces the attack speed of the Death Ward when it's shooting it when you're in the ground, but it doesn't seem very noticeable. right? Yes, it reduces the attack speed of the Death Ward by 30 seconds, but when you're getting hit by that thing and you have Maledict on you, you're not thinking to yourself, oh, this is a weakened version of Death Ward, I'll just tank it. You're thinking to yourself, I'm getting solo killed by the enemy position 5. And that has been my games recently. I had a match. Oh, what was the hero? I can't remember. I think it was a Bloodseeker. And I walk up to this guy. I stun him. I Maledict him. I actual Death Ward him. And it doesn't kill him because he was pretty farmed at this point. He had like Manta BKB and a lot of armor and Death Ward's physical. It didn't kill him, but it dropped him to about half. And he chases me, he ruptures me, and I'm like, oh god, I'm dead. I'm like, alright, maybe this was ambitious. He chases me. I click my shard just to buy time, and it kills him. I'm like, what? He just dies to Maledict. I actually solo killed the Rikiri. I'm not kidding. This happened. And so I'm like, this hero is not popular. It's got a pretty good win rate in pubs. I think Valve is potentially going to overlook it and be like, no one picks this hero. Even though it's actually one of the most played heroes in Dota. Support players, actually, the Dota community tends to pick this hero a lot, actually. But and it makes sense to me. It just kills people like crazy. But if they tweak his numbers up again, I honestly think pros should be considering this hero. My only issue with Witch Doctor, the reason why I kind of get why pros don't pick it, is the laning stage is a little bit clunky. Like in some lanes it can dominate, but in other lanes, like I played Primal Beast against it recently, and I just ran the guy over. Like there's nothing to say. He fed like 3 times to, it was a Shadow Demon Primal Beast lane. He just fed off cooldown. This guy was just feeding his brains out. I was like, all right, you know. Maybe it has flaws. After all, it's 51%, not an 80% win rate. Either way, I think they're going to tweak the numbers again, especially if they buff Death Ward damage for some reason with the cooldown again, or even the Shard. Witch Doctor will be a top pick. Next up, I want to talk about Timbersaw. This hero is extremely hard to play, and if you're going to give it a shot, I'd recommend proceeding with caution. However, I think Kaya-Sanch Ag's Timbersaw is just wild. The amount of damage you do if you get a Spell Amp neutral item, either the Fairy's Trinket, Vambrace, Nether Shawl, one of these items are all great on Timber. If you get one of these items, then Kaya-Sanch, then level 15. Let's say you get 6% Spell Amp from Vambrace, right? 8% from the talent, now we're at 14%. And then you get another 16% from Kaya-Sanch. That is 30% Spell Amp, right there. 30% Spell Amp. I mean, that's a crazy number, especially considering Timbersaw Ags, if you don't know what it does, is it gives you a second Chakram, which is your ultimate. So you have 2 ultis, and it increases the damage on the ulti. When you throw it at someone, support heroes with about 900 health will take more than half of their health. If you throw it through them, and they aren't moving, and you get them in the middle of it, they will get slowed by the Chakrams, each of the Chakrams slows, and then they can't move, and they will get solo killed by I think it's like an 8-second cooldown. Now, the problem with Timbersaw is typically people don't know how to get through the laning stage, but I think if they buff the hero even slightly, if they push it over the edge, it will go from a somewhat underwhelming hero in the current state because it's hard to play. I don't think people know what to do. I think they often feed. They don't know when to cut the wave. They don't know that they should ask for ancient stacks. There's a lot of little things you can do on this hero to get this Ags timing. Typically, I aim for Kaya-Sanch Ags at around 21 to 22 to 23 minutes, depending on how my laning stage goes. If you can hit this timing, you will be like, what is this hero? The damage? Because it's low committal too. You don't have to chain in. You just chuck these nukes at them. It's like chucking a finger of death out on an 8-second cooldown. I'm not kidding. That's what it feels like. In fact, it's more damage because it's pure. So it's way better than chucking it. You have to give it a shot. You have to see it for yourself. I've gone this build multiple times. I learned it from Whisper, the EG offlaner. This guy's very, very talented. And I think if they tweak the numbers to make Timber a better laner, or for some reason make maybe the Spell Amp talent better, something stupid, Timber will go from this kind of meh hero that can have bad games and then do nothing to being wildly explosive. Next up is a hero that I don't think is good right now. The rest I do believe are good, but I don't think is great right now. But that is AA5. I'm not gonna lie, I expected to see a little bit more AA in the pro scene. And the reason why I expected to see a little bit more AA in the pro scene is the proclivity towards mechanism at the current time. People love mech, and there's also quite a few healing heroes going around. The most notable one being Death Prophet, a very early pick, is definitely a hero that I would argue was countered by AA. And so are her teammates when she's trying to use Guardian Greaves on them, another item that is extraordinarily common right now. I mean, people are buying Mech and Greaves on like the support, I've seen it on mid-snap, I see it on offlaners all the time, I've seen it on the 4, the 5, haven't seen it on a carry, But who knows? Maybe that can happen sometimes too. The item's pretty good. So yeah, I expected AA to maybe surface a little bit just for his ability to do what he does best, which is anti-heal. Now, the laning stage of AA tends to be not the best. It's not terrible, not the best. But from there, I don't know. I just feel like the hero is kind of good. Like, its ultimate is still a 60-second cooldown, which I frankly don't think is that high. It used to be 40 flat, now it's 60, 50, 40, scaling on the level. I still think it's kind of low and gives you a lot of kill potential. If they make the hero a little bit of a better laner, maybe they give it the Rubik treatment where he gets like an armor or two and a couple of base damage, that can push him over the edge, and I really believe that, especially considering he counters a lot of the current meta heroes. The only thing that AA definitely needs is someone to enable him. Picking AA in a random pub where you don't have stuns is going to be a nightmare. You're going to have no impact, and so yes, this hero requires a little bit of synergy on average, but from there, I'm a fan, and I think with a couple buffs, you should be too. And finally, last but not least, this build, I tried it in an unranked game with some friends, and mid Dazzle is wild. When you get to Octarine Core, may I go through all the numbers quickly? I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about this hero, alright? Because I'm not even going to get it fully correct, but let me give you the gist, alright? So you really understand what's going on. The first thing I want to cover is Good Juju. Good Juju is one of Dazzle's ultimates, which is anytime you cast a spell, it reduces the cooldown of the other spells. At level 18, it's 2 seconds of cooldown off all the other spells. So let's say I cast Poison Touch. It's a 15-second cooldown. Then I cast Shadow Wave. It will make Poison Touch from a 15-second cooldown down to 13. Now that would never happen, but you get the point. It would go from 14 to 12. Whatever it's at, 9 to 7. Okay, then I cast Grave. That will put Poison Touch down from 9 to 7 to then 7 to 5. Then I cast Good Juju, which is Dazzle's other ultimate. That counts. All of a sudden, Poison Touch has gone from 9 to 7, from 7 to 5, from 5 to 3. You see where this is going. And Shadow Wave, which is a 9-second cooldown, propels all of this because it is the lowest cooldown. So let's say you cast Shadow Wave first, okay? It's a 9-second cooldown. You then Grave 9 to 7, 7 to 5 on Poison Touch, 5 to 3 on Bad Juju, and then it all keeps going. And by the way, if you buy Ags, Good Juju also has an active ability, and it goes even further. What happens if you get a Quickening Charm? What happens if you get an Octarine Core? Everything begins to stack on top of each other. And what's really important to note is the items you buy. The first item you typically buy is Greaves, just because mech is very good right now and it makes sense on Dazzle. The most common second item I've seen is Aghanim Scepter. Aghanim Scepter on Dazzle allows you to refresh on like 180-second cooldown. You can refresh the items of an allied hero, meaning you can refresh your core's BKB, which is obviously insane, and it reduces the cooldown of all your items by 50%, meaning Guardian Greaves is a 20-second cooldown. You also become very tanky due to the pretty decent stats on Ags. It feels quite nice. From there, I like to go Octarine Core, just because all of a sudden you become a button mashing machine. Greaves go down to a 15-second cooldown, Shadow Word goes down to like a 7.3 or something like that. With a Quickening Charm, it's like 6.9. Whoa! But yeah, you get the point. If you haven't seen this build healing, it's wild. And really the big thing to understand too on top of this is that Shallow Grave, for every 10% of health missing on your ally, at max level, which you will get to, this hero farms quickly, gets 8% heal amplification. So if they're on 1 health, and they're Graves, when you mech them, it gives them an 80% extra bonus. Meaning when you Grave someone, it gives them 350, it's around 270 more, approximately. Insane. And then you Shadow Wave them, that heals them. And then your Bad Juju also heals them. I can't, like, that is all I have to say. So you might be like, why is it not meta right now? I think honestly, sometimes it's a little bit slow in the early game. It does take a little bit of time to come online, in my opinion. Like, it's a good laner, but in the mid game, before it's got its Greaves, before it's got that Axe, sometimes it can have a timing where it's like, yeah, it's not doing that much, okay? So I think it's actually a scaling hero. It scales well into the mid to late game, which is fine. You have to farm a lot. And you can take Ancients, by the way. This is what I was taught. You can take Ancients. It's pretty crazy. You just have to keep the Poison Touch going. And by the way, Poison Touch stacks. So you can have 2 Poison Touch stacks on the big Ancient creep and kill it that way. But if they buff this, if they buff the numbers on Dazzle, if they lower the cooldown of spells, you can see why the hero could become broken very quick. If the cooldown of Bad Juju goes down, Poison Touch, even if they only buff one of them, it's a snowball effect because of how good juju works. And that is why I think Mid Dazzle is definitely here to keep your eye out for. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed my little list here on 5 heroes I think will be broken in the next patch. I'd love to hear what you guys think will be broken in the next patch. So leave a comment down below. Of course, smash that like button. I always appreciate it if you guys can support the videos. It does mean a lot to me as we're putting in effort day in and day out to get you guys some good Dota content and talk about the game we all love. And alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!